audience. I've got that. Is it? Yeah, that's fine. That's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's best, and you don't really need to go.
Yeah.
You don't need it near your mouth, you can just lean into it a little bit.
Anyway, if when they raise their hand, they have a question. I have a mic. I'll run over to them and give it
Okay.
to them so everybody can hear.
We're gathering together here today, and perhaps somebody can go back and tell everyone it's time to bring our meeting to order. Here comes Ken, so the rest will follow. Okay, ladies and gentlemen back there enjoying your social time, would you please come on into the meeting now? It's beginning. Thank you. So we will officially begin our 25th annual report and our annual community meeting. And hooray for us, 25 years, which we'll be celebrating our anniversary this year in many, many ways and many, many venues. But here we are to begin that 25th year together. I would like to ask Reverend Tammy if she would please give the invocation.
Hello, good morning. Good afternoon. Okay. We love to start by recognizing spirit right here. So I just invite you to move to that real sweet spot right in the center of your being. As we move within and recognize and feel and sense that there's a magnificent presence that is hugging us, that is embracing us, that is moving through and as us, that is the words we speak, the creation we are creating, the the infinite possibilities, as Reverend Christian talked about, that this Seaside Center for Spiritual Living is a forward-moving, expanding, transforming expression of God. And so we stand forth here as we look at the good that God has done and go forth with the vision of where we can go from here. And so it's with a heart that's filled with gratitude that I give thanks for all of those that are involved, for each of you that so lovingly give of your time as we come forth, anchored in the truth and anchored in God. And so it is. Amen.
The first thing that I'd like to do is present to you our Board of Trustees. For this last year, we have all, as you've heard in the past, worked together to create the Magnificent Six, plus two, of course, Christian and Tammy, but we're so grateful to everyone for that. And so I'd like to have Helen Lipka please stand up. Cindy Deast. Bill Seaman. Robin Mitchell. And Joanne Wolf. In the past, we've had a different way of presenting our Board of Trustees, but because Tammy requested of us to give her reports to the bond committee in that application, that we as a board give our, so to speak, credentials to feel, so that the bond committee can feel comfortable that this community is being led by experts. And we are expert, by the way. And so in that, you'll see the biographies that were sent to the bond committee. And the reason I included them is because you see such heart and grace and love from all of us. And we talk on a spiritual level, but all these folks go out into the community and they do very successful jobs and have wonderful skills. So they bring that back to Seaside as well and help us all as a community move forward. So we do appreciate everyone. And also, in respect to my report, I do have a letter in your package. However, I found it not as important as years gone by for the president to go through one by one line item, because thanks to Bill and Helen, you all, the majority of the ministries have given their own reports. So you will get far more detail than you've ever gotten in the past at an annual report about all the ministries and all the work that they are specifically focused on from last year and now going into 2013. I say in my comments in my letter that I had no idea till, we all take on 3 years, an accumulative 3 years. Sometimes if there's space left from a previous trustee that they were unable to finish, it's sometimes longer than 3 years, and I'll come to that in a few minutes. But my first year was a director, and then I was gratefully nominated to be the president for your board this year. I had no idea the magnitude of moving pieces and moving parts that this community goes through every single solitary day. And I marvel that Reverend Christian and Reverend Tammy just lead this magnificent team. It's amazing. And Joanne is right there behind giving support, the ministers, Linda Armisen. It's just an amazing, and it's so silent and so in unity and perfection. We just think, oh, well, that's just the way it's supposed to be. Well, it is, because there's a great deal of love and direction that's given to it all the time. On the page where I acknowledge the current board members that are present this year, 2012, you can see the accumulation of time that we have given to the board and how much time remains for us. And in fact, I have one more year left on the board. Robin Mitchell has completed 3 years. Cindy Dietz has 2 years remaining of the 3 years that she's committed to. Bill Siemens has 2 years in continuation of service. And then the Helen Lipka and Joanne Wolf, it needs explanation, and honestly, I think Reverend Christian has had to work with me about 2 weeks on this. I swear I get confused. I can't, well, what happened here and what happened there? Well, bottom line is, in life, our trustees commit to 3 years, and then life happens, and sometimes they can't complete all of that 3-year tenure. So with that, someone else steps in to give service. And that's what happened with Helen Lipka and Joanne Wolf. They are stepping into service, replacing David Hill's tenure and replacing Michelle Tiernan's tenure. We don't immediately take care of that in front of you as our governing board. We wait till the next annual meeting to do that. So we will be asking for your agreement to let these folks continue on in a new 3-year term, both Helen Lipka, Joanne Wolf. And another thing that's rather unusual about our board is that we have created a very solid basis of connection, of connectiveness, and of love and caring. And we are on a roll. I hope you see some of all the magnificent manifestations that are occurring because of many, many new ideas, many, many changes, many, many improvements in the way. It was always good, but it's getting even better. And in so doing, we are asking you to consider, instead of Robin Mitchell finishing off someone else's term up front, to remain on the board 1 more year. The continuity of her experience, of her dedication, and her wisdom is immensely appreciated, and I really feel that you will do well having adopted that possibility, because our next year, 2013, is going to be magnificent. And so with that in mind, I would like to present those nominations to you and ask for your vote of acceptance of this new Board of Trustees. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? We gratefully accept these wonderful 6 people including me, into this new year together. And let's see, where are we going next? I'd say that we are going on to Reverend Catherine.
Good afternoon, everyone. And so I have the great honor of reporting about my two areas, and I'll begin with the Holmes Institute and then go on to education. And so I'm going to let you read the reports later if you want, and I'll just tell you a little summary of what it is that you'll find here. So first I have the great honor of serving as the Dean of the Holmes Institute. Many of you know that we are one of the 3 regional centers for the Holmes Institute School of Consciousness Studies. And so what that means is that Seaside sponsors one of the campuses where practitioners come and study to become ministers for Centers for Spiritual Living. And so, as my role as dean, I am in charge of the administration of that program, the planning, the recruitment, the student support, and an unfoldment of those who are in process in becoming ministers. I love this job, and part of it is because, you know, we focus so much when we're in our spiritual community, as I talked about this morning at service, that we are focused on each other and what happens within this wonderful community. What I also do is move out into the larger organization and represent Seaside within the Centers for Spiritual Living. And so I, along with Dr. Christina, who's our distance dean, move in circles with the larger organization and bring the energy and the love and the consciousness of Seaside out there and bring back what's happening within the organization here. And so over the last couple of years, the main thing that's been going on is integration, and I'm so glad that this will be the last year that I actually have to talk about integration at this meeting, because we are integrated. So the former international and united organizations came together. This fall we launched our integrated ministerial training program, and so the last couple of years have been focused on, well, what's that going to look like? Okay, and so, all right, maybe it'll look like this. Okay, so now how do we do that? And so this year has been how we put into practice what that new integrated program means. So a lot of that just means that we've been focusing on figuring out how to take what the vision was and what some people decided was important and putting it into practice with our new students who came in the fall. So that's a lot of what's been happening in this past year. In terms of our classes and courses, I am so blessed to have so many ministers locally who've been in ministry over 20, 30 years in Southern California. I feel like sometimes I say you can't throw a rock without hitting one in the head. So we have, our faculty is really wonderful with Dr. Kathy Hearn. Dr. Christian teaches every year. We have Kevin Busey come in to teach, Guy Williams come in to teach. I've got all of our ministers from the Los Angeles area. I'm a very popular person at conferences because everybody wants to teach for us, and Dr. Christian and I are very picky about who teaches what. So actually, even today, as if you were in service, you know that the president of the movement is actually up on the hill right now teaching our students this weekend about starting a new work, and so we're really proud of the program. So let's see, and I couldn't do any of this without our registrar, Kathy Phelan, who is in charge of all of the paperwork and all that it takes to make sure that all the students get the classes that they need in the right timing of it. So just to share, our mission is to prepare spiritual leaders for service in the global community, and our objectives include to foster consciousness development, to inspire spiritual leadership, to nurture self-reliance, to teach global responsibility, and to provide a quality, I would say not only distance, but quality educational program. Our vision is to support the growth and expansion of science of mind through high-level training of ministers, Seaside's a dynamic educational center that attracts students from all over the country and world to study, serve, and be prepared for service and ministry for the world today. And so I actually have students who come into Seaside from South Africa, from Puerto Rico, and you can see the list from Utah and Nevada and Oregon and North Carolina and Arizona. We have a little bit of a reputation in the movement for being open to new visions of ministry, to being the joy-filled place, I would say, and that comes directly from our director, Dr. Christian, because this work is, in terms of ministry, is powerful, it's exciting, it's not easy, but it leads to a fulfilling, joy-filled life. And so that comes directly from his essence and energy through the program, and people know us in terms of that. The exciting thing from the Holmes Institute this year was that because of a wonderful grant from the Hefferlin organization, we up-leveled our video conferencing program and received all new equipment for that. And so because our students come in from all over, they take some of their classes here in person and then through their computer are able to attend classes. And that process started back when I was in the School of Ministry about 20 million years ago, and technology has unfolded and up-leveled, and we've been a little bit behind on it. And now I'm glad to say that our software system, our computer, our camera, our even television is up to date. And the students, I've spent the whole weekend with them, just checking in to see how it's been going, and they are thrilled and excited about that. And that came to us from a grant, so we were very happy about that too, that it was paid for. And then the highlight of our Holmes Institute year is always graduation. It's the first Sunday of June, and I was thrilled that it wasn't on my birthday this year again, so that was great. But we had 500 people in the room celebrating practitioner graduates from 9 centers in San Diego and Orange counties, and we graduated 10 ministerial students, and I was glad to see that they all passed their licensing panels in August at the Asilomar conference, and all 10 of them stepped directly into letters of call and are in active services ministry. So we're doing something right, and we're helping to spread science of mind, so I'm grateful about that. That's Holmes Institute. In terms of education, you know, my passion within this movement is education. I think that and if anyone's been around me at all, you know that my motto for the education department is "My life just works when I'm in class." I think that taking these spiritual principles and putting them into practice and learning how to do that happens in the classroom. And so it's my goal that our education department is serving the needs of our community on a deep level in many different ways. And so this year, particularly, we had a range of courses. We had our certificated calendar that moves through the year with our foundations class and our mid-level science of mind classes, moving on to our practitioner classes. We also have our enrichment classes, and this is an opportunity for those within our community. You know, we have such amazing people as part of Seaside, and they all have, you all have, wonderful expertise in different areas, and whether it's spiritually based or organizationally based or psychologically based, whatever that is, people have been called to step up and serve. So we have a process by which members can apply to offer enrichment classes here at Seaside. And so between our certificated classwork, our enrichment classes, we revised the Sacred Circles this year to go in conjunction with our Fall Prosperity Program. We had a strong experience with our Sacred Circles in the fall. And our workshops this year, we had we started the year last year with Dr. Christian and Callie's really popular workshops for couples and singles about love. And this year we're doing the same thing with Reverend Tammy and Rick's Calling in the One class. And so there's been a call for lots of different experiences by our congregation, and we in the education department just want to support those desires and those needs. So let's see. Sacred Circles. The other thing that was exciting this past year in education every once in a while, I'll hear, I'd love to come out, but I don't drive at night, or I'd love to come to class, but I really can't. And so we started a track of daytime classes. Two things happened. One is that Dr. Leo Fishbeck, who's here, thank you, Dr. Leo, came to be of service to Seaside and has started an ongoing Science of Mind study group during the day. And he faithfully shows up every week, ready to talk about God and science of mind. And the second piece was that Reverend Lori Sheets stepped in to offer our certificated classes in the daytime. So it's a little bit of, if you build it, they will come, because we set the intention, we're starting, and every time we offer a class, a few more people show up. And so I'm knowing that as we continue this, that there'll be another pathway for people to step into these classes and get this material and have the classroom experience, which is so powerful, to be in a group of like-minded, in a safe space to explore these spiritual principles in action in our life. And then the other exciting thing that we did in the fall was our Everything Abundant Now program, where each of the ministers took a night, and we had a free workshop on successive evenings during our fall capital campaign and pledge campaign. And it was wildly successful. We had an average of 75 people in the room every week, and people kept coming back, and Reverend Fran gave of her time every week. Each of us were here one week, and then Reverend Fran was here every week, giving her time and her love and her music. And it was really successful. And so it's got us thinking about how to balance out the classes for fee, classes that are offerings that are free, workshops on the weekends, workshops on Sundays, how that all works. And so as we come into 2013, those are the ideas and the things that we're thinking about. And so that's me.
Thank you. Good afternoon again. So I am the executive director here at Seaside, and what that means is that I have the honor of working on a full-time basis of everything, basically. All the budgets and cash flows and those types of things. We have a wonderful ecclesiastical team where we create great events, and everything that we can do as we listen to Spirit and bring new creation in so that we can all continue growing on our path. And I'm going to kind of integrate both the executive director and the financial information, and so we can kind of follow along. I thought it'd probably be best to do it chronologically. One of the things that, well, we started the year, actually ended last year and began this year with the pavers outside, where we moved from grass to those pavers. Many of you, I think about 178 of you, bought pavers and put your beautiful engravings and prayers and well wishes for everybody out there. And we had a special thank you to Robin and to Karen for that whole project and organization and selling that and getting that all going, and to Carl Christ for installing it. Just see here, you'll take for him, and all of that work, and he had many volunteers that helped him. Reverend Rick has been working on beautifying it, hoping to get this coming Easter beautiful with flowers and everything blossoming. And it was so well received that the newspaper, the North County Times, voted by the people of North County, voted it the #1 wedding spot in North County. So it has been very beneficial for us, and it is absolutely beautiful. We also came together because we had Reverend Christian and his 20 years with us, right? Yeah, 20 years with us, that we created, and we all got together and created a prayer gazebo, which many of you have seen out there. Steve White, who is a wonderful longtime member, came together with his crew, along with many volunteers, came forth and built our gazebo for us, and I just hope you go out there and appreciate it and just say thank you to Reverend Christian for all your time and what you've done for Seaside. So thank you for that. Then we moved forward with our Gourmets for God, and Cindy Dietz headed up our Gourmets for God. I know Bill helped a lot, and she had actually a number of volunteers and people that helped her also. Gourmets for God is a wonderful program that we have. It ended up raising about just shy of $13,000 for Seaside. But most importantly, what it does, or equally as important, is the relationships that are created, the fun we have together, and how we have an opportunity to spend time together and build relationships with people of like mind. And that is of so much value, because I know that sometimes when I go out into the world and I'm with a group of people that don't think like we do, that don't think from a space of love, or don't think from a place of knowing that all is well and support, and there's a power and a presence that supports us, and it all works out, that it's a different world. But when we're with each other and we're supporting each other, it's incredible. And so we create a strong family through our Gourmets for God. So thank you for all of your work and all we've done. We will be doing that again this year. I know it needs some instructions, some clarity on it, so we're working on making it a little clearer on the flow of it. And so look for that. I think that's coming out. When is that? Is that going to be in June? June? Start eating in June, but the process starts, I think, around Easter, right, which is the last week of March. But good for that. Also, our bookstore had a huge facelift, thanks to many people that worked at. Cindy Dietz worked with that, Kay Samuelson, David Kennedy, Barbara King, and I know a number of people came together. I'm sure you appreciate it. They painted it, and new shelves, and rearranged it, and on and on. And we thought at one point it was going to be about $6,000 to get a new, what they call point of sale systems, which is the whole aspect of the register and the inventory and all of that. Well, it just so happens, and it's a good example, that just right by the end of the year, our credit card merchant company came out with a point of sale system that was $980. And we implemented that before the end of the year. The team came together, did an inventory, and super simplified the whole process of working in the bookstore, being a volunteer at the bookstore, keeping inventories, and everybody's really excited about it. I happen to know that about 5 people went up to the gift show this last weekend and brought back a lot of fun new gifts and new things. So go in there next week, because there's going to be a ton of new things, spiritual type things for you to enjoy. So thank you to our bookstore crew. As you know, it was 2.5 years ago, actually it was in July, 2.5 years ago, that because of the recession that we were going through, Seaside was looking at what are the pivots that we could do to help us be more in alignment with the cash flow that was coming in. And that was a time not only for us but for everybody, where we were having to look at what we value and look at the money that we have and living on what we make. And so we had a meeting where we called the congregation together to discuss and get your approval that if we had to, could we sell the back property, the Cardiff Drive property at that time. You all approved of that to do what we needed to do, and gave us and the board authority to look at all options. It wasn't long before Spirit showed up and brought to us a bond company. A number of our other churches in our movement and our home office, Mile High, Arizona, a number of them came together with a company by the name of Ziegler, and they finance churches and schools. And how it works, which is unlike commercial property. Normally commercial property, you get a 5 or 7 year loan is what you're getting now. We happen to have a 10-year loan that expires next year in November. And normally you're refinancing all the time. But this happens to be an organization that, through doing a public offering of bonds, which they take care of and do all of that, we can get a 25-year loan, similar to the one you have on your house. At the end of the 25 years, it's paid. It's a fixed rate loan. We think it's going to be coming in around 6% where we're at. And it has tons of other benefits. You can Unlike a traditional mortgage, if somebody bequeaths the church $1 million and we want to pay it down, the interest rate actually goes down and so does the payment. It makes the adjustment in the loan. Instead of if somebody did that to you, you'd still have to make the same payment and keep on the same schedule until it was paid off. So it has a lot of benefits. We've been working, Reverend Christian and myself and our board has been working diligently with the company to figure out what we needed to look like from a financial standpoint to qualify for this loan. So initially there was two core criterias. One of them is income versus expenses. They wanted us to they have a whole formula that they use, but they wanted our income to exceed our expenses by 1.10%. After they took out all their little pieces. So that was one criteria that we had to fit within. The other one was a 25-75%, we understand it as equity, that we have at least 25% equity on the balance sheets. Now they do that different than our homes where they'll appraise it and look at how much money you owe. They actually have two ways of doing it, that you can do an appraisal or you can do a book value. So what that means is the price you paid for it, how much of the loan you've paid off, and is that 25-75. So we qualified for that. That was great. So we started forward. One of the things that we needed, and many of you participated with us, is we did need to increase our income over our expenses. We called that the bond project, but we're now calling that our cash flow project, or cash flow reserves. And a number of people came together. I meant to count beforehand. I forget how many it was, maybe 25 people or so came together, and we ended up raising just shy of $132,000 to help with our project. The goal was $100,000, and we came up about $132,000. So number one, just thank you, Seaside, for your support and all that you've done to help us. We got those numbers in close to the end of the year, and we sent that off to our representative with Ziegler. His name's David Schlesinger, and we sent it off to him, and we got the big check. All was well with that. Then he was looking at our balance sheet and realized that because we're a church, we don't have to file taxes, and so we haven't been keeping our bookkeeping with depreciation because we've really had no need to. So all of a sudden our 25-75% wasn't looking so good, because by the time you depreciate, the ratio changes. But we also hadn't been capitalizing on our assets. I'm trying to keep this simple, which really means that all those additions and all that money we've invested into the property, we get to add as a value to capitalize. So depreciation is take a little bit away, and the capitalization is add it back in. So after doing some magic and going back and digging in files from 10, 12 years ago and longer and all of those kinds of things, it ended up that our ratio came in, well, we still don't know. We're actually getting them tomorrow, on Monday we'll get, but we came in close. Actually, it's looking better than what we thought of our 75-25. But on top of that are all the fees that come with this refinancing, which took us out of our 75-25 ratio. It popped us into about an 80-20 ratio. So we're still waiting to see. We get our preliminary audit tomorrow. He finished last Tuesday, and we get our final audit by the end of the week of all his notes and that. So, but from talking to him and telling him where we sit and what they're looking at, we can go forward from what we can tell. I mean, from where we're waiting to hear from them, we look good to move forward, let's put it that way, from what we need to do. We thought at one point we had to pivot and do an appraisal, but we found that appraisals are based on actual sales, and because of the market, even though there's been some great actual sales lately, there was a lot of short sales, so that we didn't pull those numbers either. So needless to say, we've been shaking and moving in the last couple of months trying to get these numbers and get all of this together. So we came forward, we had this audit that was coming with. Seaside had never been officially audited. About 10 years ago, we brought in an auditor that looked at some things, but audits are expensive. They're probably $12,000 to $14,000. And so we needed to have this professional audit, and oh, we were so blessed. God is so good, because they brought us the greatest auditor on the planet. I mean, this guy was so kind, so nice. Wasn't about changing our processes and procedures. I mean, our processes and procedures worked really well, but wasn't, really was about keeping us so that we're functioning and moving and using the tools of our finances as tools. And so, anyways, the audit went fabulous, and I just have to give a great thank you to Sharon DeLeon. She took all of our boxes, which we have, you can imagine, tons of boxes of financials for 25 years, and she put them all in one area, and in our attic, you just got to go see it. You got to go to our attic. I mean, it is like gorgeous. And she marked them all, by the year and what's in the box, deposits or this, that, or the other. So when that auditor said, I want to see this receipt, man, we went up those stairs. It was like that. We found the receipt, man. We're just like rolling. So, and Sharon DeLeon, who is the queen of organization, did that for us. We are like positioned so cool. It is just like, I took the auditor up there just to see it. You got to see this. So that went really well. And the best part of that is that there really was nothing blaring. There was really nothing that we needed to majorly change or do anything about. It just flowed. So God is good, brought us the right person. I know this loan is going through. Once he gets the numbers at Ziegler's, then they'll be able to look at it in more detail and on and on. So we'll be in the process, and we should be here, and I'm guessing it'll probably be about 4 weeks before we get an absolute you're done. And then they create the prospectuses and they go to market. Once they go to market to sell these bonds, it goes for 3 days. Whether it's sold or not, we get our money. So it looks like it's going to be about $2.6 million, and we'll be able to pay it off. So please hold that in prayer and know that. I also would like, just officially for the minutes at this point, to be noted that this was explained to us, that I want your approval on going forward with these bonds, and that this is a direction that we're all in agreement with to do the things that are necessary for that. I think since it's been 2.5 years since we got together and discussed this subject, that we get an approval. So could I have a second? All right, everybody approve? Say aye. Any oppositions? No. Good. Blessings. Thank you so much. All right. Let's talk a little bit about the financials. In your book, you will see about, kind of near the beginning, there's 2 pages. There's the core pages that all financial people look at, the balance sheet and the profit and loss, the P&L. And the P&L is stapled. It accidentally didn't get put in the book, so we'll look at that first. It got stapled. That's the one you'll see, and then you'll flip it up, and the balance sheet is underneath that. Okay, as we have discussed before, and if any of you are new, I just would like to tell you our methodology on this. What we try to do, we try to live in the flow and the grace of God always. And feeling good is feeling God. And so we try to make sure that we are living on what we make. And then what we go forth is we tap into Spirit and say, what else? What would you like us to do? And we come forth with new events and new things that create revenue for the church. So as we look at this P&L, one of the things that we had to do this year, and this is an unaudited one because we don't have that audit in yet, but one of the things that we were told to do was to any expenses that were kind of near the end of the year that could go into the following year, to do that, pay that in the following year. But because we live on what we make, budget versus actual, we plan on it. Our budget is based on what came in the previous year, at least that which we're living on. And because of those reports, so we ended the year in 12/31, but then any leftover bills, and it ended up being about $7,000 worth. We paid actually on January 1st, 2013. And that was just because of the budgets and the financials and all of the things in the way that we were advised to go forward on this. So this actually is a statement which ends on December 31st. As you can see, we have our regular operating account. We have our bookstore, our education, our Homes Institute, Our reserve fund is that fund which was the bond money, if you will, or dedicated money. So all money that came in for pavers is there, money that came in, we had some money came in specifically for some work to be done by individuals, volunteer coordinator and that. That's all in our reserve or dedicated fund. And then we have a medical savings account. One of the things we did because of insurance being so high was we took high deductible insurance plans, and because none of us really use it, we put it, we did a medical savings account where we keep a savings account in the event somebody has to pay a deductible or something that's high. That's what the medical savings account is. And so this is the actual report or close to it that went into the bond company. And so we actually ended up, as you can see in the corner there, up about $112,000. With our balance sheet, which if you lift that piece of paper up, the balance sheet is the list of assets. And these are, the first ones are our checking accounts. And you can see that our operating account has about 16,000 in it. Our dedicated savings had about 122, and on, the bookstore and the office supplies and the medical savings account. So our cash value ended up great. Ziegler said it was perfect, and our P&L worked out well, expenses over income. But one of the things that I do want to bring to our attention is that of the $132,000 that we raised, from an operations standpoint, our contributions were down. We were hoping that we had hit a level and would start raising back up again, but we were down about $20,000 this year over last year, not counting the extra 130 that was raised. So I just want to bring that to our attention, just because communication and people are aware that we really need to have we came in around 520, and at a very bare minimum, we need about 580 to just stay where we're at right now and pay our bills and do those kinds of things. So we're going into this year, we have a wonderful group, a development committee that's come forth that is really putting attention and focus on increasing contributions and, more importantly, serving more people, bringing more people to hear this powerful message, and looking at other avenues from which we can raise revenue and tighten up the systems and things that we have right now. Because of that, because of our coming in at 520 when we really needed to be in around 580, we did use of that bond, or what we call our cash flow reserve fund, we used 55,000 of it just to break even this year, which brought our reserve fund down from 131 to 75,000. We have to take the audit money out of that, which let's say another 10,000, but we have a commitment, and our board has a commitment, the development committee has a commitment to keep that cash reserve fund at $100,000 like we've wanted. It's there for reserve, it's there for the bonds so that our income and expense worked. But that's our commitment, because sometimes during the summer here it gets like really skinny and people are gone, and so we need a cash flow fund that can help us during the times that we could use it. So I'd ask you to keep that in prayer. Keep that in prayer. That it's 60,000 doesn't seem like much, but it's about $5 a head for everybody, each week. So about what it turns into. So. That's primarily that report. I'll be available afterwards if anybody has any questions or anything that you want to ask on that. I do have a bit of good news, though, which is really great. We had AT&T next door is putting in a cell tower, and as part of that, they have a big piece of equipment. They need a place to park. And so the gentleman came over last week and asked us about our parking, and we're like, well, I don't know, because we use our spots. And he offered $200 a day, and he thinks it might be there about 30 days. And I'm going, oh, $6,000, sure. Where would you like to park it? So, yeah, help yourself. So anyways, Spirit works. If Spirit works, Spirit just works. And as Reverend Christian's talked today, which was so appropriate, as we set our attention and intention on Spirit works and to be those instruments and to listen, it may not show up as we see it in one way, as he said, but it shows up. And whenever you look back on your life, you say to yourself, when you don't understand it, and you look back and you go, oh, that's why it went that way, or that it was supposed to work. So in kind of a final thought, and I think I covered all of this here, I just want to say thank you to all of you. I did have another final thought, Wednesday night service. As I finished up that 10-year period of time, it was such an honor to serve and to share my spiritual journey and to walk on it with each of you. We brought in Reverend Sunshine Day, who has been received extremely well. She's had a full Wednesday night full of people and something different and a change and a way for us to all grow. And so that's an exciting thing that's changed that happened last year too. So with that, are there any immediate questions that I could answer at this time, or should I pass it on forward to Reverend Christian? I'll be available afterwards for all your questions too. Okay, thank you very much.
Reverend Tammy, is she fabulous? Oh my goodness, with clarity, non-emotional. I mean, it's just fabulous. And how blessed am I to work with a team, an ecclesiastical team. That is great. Every day get together and we get to just catch God's vision and see how we can bring it forth. And so around here, it's just magic working with Reverend Tammy and Reverend Catherine and Dr. Christina and Reverend Fran and Reverend Lori. It is a blessing to be able to do what it is we do. And then we got a board that is fabulous. Oh my goodness, we haven't had a board nipping at our heels like this in a long time. Oh my goodness, there is just so much that there's for us to do these days. And what is exciting is that it feels so good to have that life back here at Seaside, that I won't say it was inertia, but it was like we broke through something. It wasn't a complacency. I think we got into a place of fear. Or not even fear, we were protecting. It was just, things got tough and we got protective and tried to take care of it the best we could. And it started last January when Helen led this group into visioning that turned out to be a development group that emerged that just kind of broke through our protective shell. And we did what we needed to do during the time we did it to keep, how we saved this campus is truly a testimony to God. Talking about possibilities, you think this is going to be the answer and this is going to be the answer. And whether it was a gift out of the blue that graced us, or whether it was the capital campaign that helped us through that, I could never have figured it out that it brought us to this point that all of a sudden, what are we going to do about a mortgage now? And then this comes forward. That's what living in grace is about. That is what living with a sense of trust is, and having the guts as a community to go forward. And I'm looking out here today, and there are more of us that have been in an annual meeting than I can remember in the 20 years of Seaside. Because, together we are going to build this place. You have a staff. Yes, it's... I've an old story. I'm sure I've shared it, but probably not for a couple of years. So I'll do it again. And it's about the little kid who had gone to a junior church, and he had a special need in the sense that one of his hands he was born without a hand, is what it was. And so, the junior church teacher was made aware of it, and she was very conscientious. No art projects that would impact him, that would make it difficult, wanted not to have any difficulties, and she ended the class like she always ends the class. Okay, guys, let's build the church. Here's the church, here's the steeple, open up the door, here are all the people. And I say, oh no, little Susie, no hand. And she turns, and little, Jimmy is next to her and say, don't worry, teacher, Susie and I, we're going to build the church together. And he puts up his hand, and they do that. That's what we're doing here at Seaside. We are building this community together. There's an ecclesiastical team. There is a board. There is a staff. There is a powerful team that is operating on behalf of the community. Its bottom line is it always will come back to the community and the congregation. It is, the big choice comes to you guys, and you have elected your trustees to handle the day-to-day operations. As Trudy was alluding to, there is a lot that's always going on that's really, you don't need to concern yourself because you have got a wonderful community that takes care of it. And we are going into our 25th anniversary year. Congratulations, 25 years. It is, and so you'll see that all year, 25-year celebration. We're celebrating. Everything's going to be 25 years. Congratulations, silver anniversary. But, I think about Seaside, and I still, in a sense, think about this young, brand new community of just a few years old. And, 25 is, that's getting some momentum. And so what I know is 25 years from now, this mortgage is going to be paid off. What I know is, this was only our first 25 years together. We've got the second half, and we're just beginning to bring forth the magic and the wonder that Seaside is. And then over the 25 years, you need to, but it's good. You have got a rocking community. It is a place that is a light within our movement. I mean, you got the president of the movement sitting up there on our hill teaching today. It's because there's some good juju going on here because of you guys. You're able to call in, wonderful speakers here and presenters. And it is a venue that Linda Amerson this year in her rentals, I got to throw this. Should I throw that out there? It's in the report. But I mean, it's such a wonderful venue that this year, and Linda, I like to call her our calendar girl because she's so cute. And she brought in so many venues that we raised in our facility rentals nearly $100,000 this year, which is helpful. It is a big help. And so once again, it is the new ideas, and it is the new streams, and it is having those fresh eyes to be able to open up to the possibilities that are there. And when one door closes, another one opens up. When Reverend Tammy shared with me about the Wednesday evening service, oh my goodness. But I have, empower whatever is perfect in her life. And I got to tell you, I have never in all the years within this movement watched a baton be passed from one congregation to the other successfully, other than maybe the Mile High Center Religious Center. Throughout the movement in all my years, and the way in which Tammy has empowered the Wednesday night and passed the torch up is just a testimony to the consciousness and the love of the people and wanting to make sure we were all taken care of. And so that's the heart that operates at this community, and we're going out now, taking it beyond the campus with the live streaming and the podcasting and the distant learning and the education and the books, and the organization is growing. Things have changed, as Reverend Catherine alluded to. This year, in 2012, less than a year ago, the two organizations, after all the years of fooling around, finally, officially, legally, and corporately, organizationally, came together, and it is one organization, and overnight we doubled in size. What I know for Seaside, this is the year in which we are going to double in size. How do you like that? I said that. We can do that, but we can do it as we build the church together and tell people that are near and dear to our heart. If everybody in this community had one person that was near and dear to their heart and cared enough to share the magical spiritual truth in their life, our place would double overnight. Yes, crazy good can happen in a second, and it's going on here at Seaside because there is a belief, there is a trust, there is a knowingness that surpasses any of the statistical facts. And that extra 60 grand we need to generate this year, that we just got to know if things grow, they grow. And if you hit that level of 600,000 of contributions, which you can see we have been in the past, it's not beyond us. Everything gets easier to do. And the reason for our growing is not because we want to grow. The reason to grow is there is so much more we can do. As we grow, there are more ministries that have people in them. There are more opportunities in Sacred Circles to get close to people that matter in your life. There are more opportunities to bring in speakers, because if there are more of us here, we can tend to do more on a larger scale. And the more ministries, the more opportunities for the personal relationships, and it's the relationships that build the community. I look forward to the day when people say, well, I didn't really come to hear you, Christian. I came to see my friends. And it's about building community and friendships and love, and to be able to play with people of like mind. That is the vision I hold for this community, is that we are able to create a spiritual community that people know is here. We got a wonderful marketing venue that is getting going and gearing up. So people who can be fed by our unique offering, and I'm not fooled, it's a unique offering, I know, but it is people so hunger for what it is we got that they've got to know we are here. And so what I want and I see is that those that can be fed by our unique spiritual offering know where they can come to get it and be fed by that and be able to make their choice. Because what is going on here is great. It is grand, it is love, it is successful, it is actually growing and thriving and doing well, and there's so much more that we can do and thrive in a greater way. We don't lose sight of that, but don't also lose sight of the good work that is going on here and now. And that is because we are all here, we all care, we all contribute, we all serve, we all love. We're all in this together, and together we have created what is going on here. And you play an integral part of that, and my heart goes out to you. Callie joins me in that love. We sing praises to the community, the membership, and congregation constantly in our life. You're very special and very dear to our heart and our soul. We care, we love you, and I just thank you for calling me to serve you. I love you. Well, yeah, Trudy, you can come on up too. I know, I thought I would open up for questions. You know, we kind of been moving through this quickly, and I just thought, you know what? Do you have any questions that we could answer of Trudy or Tammy or myself or anyone before I go sit down? Yeah, Helena.
Hi, I'm Helena. I work with the teens.
I saw your tape on the ground today in there. What was that?
Oh yeah. We had an activity where the kids had to get from. There was tape on either side of the room, and to get them to try to brainstorm and work together, they had to come up with how to get from one side of the tape to the other side without touching any space in between. So
I haven't seen that many teens in a long time, so something's going on in there.
it was awesome, yeah. We started off with one, and we're at 11 o'clock, and then all of a sudden, it filled up, so it was great. 2 new teens, too, which was great. So people have been talking about how we can grow the teen ministry here, and I got some ideas from the kids today to get their ideas, and I thought I saw something about a meeting maybe where you guys were going to have an outside meeting to talk about it, and I might have missed it. And I'm just wondering, is something like that happening, or is it something that I should just go ahead and work with Debbie to try to get that going?
Yes, the key is, work with Debbie, and just to share, and I guess put it out there. Debbie is going in to be a senior next year in the School of Ministry, and all her colleagues are off doing the internships and going to the different congregations. And so what she has said is that she is going to pass successfully that torch on to our new youth and family director. And so that would be the person that really partners with the teens. And what we're looking for is, that charismatic Pied Piper to be in there, leadership as well as the teens. And we keep our eye on that, make sure that we've got them all within principle. And so, yes, we want the ideas, because if the teens got ideas on how to make it work, say yes, would be my thing. So, yes, let's create opportunity to continue to vision and to unfold what is trying to emerge there. Because I want you to know our youth and family program is very important to the Ecclesiastic team and to your board. It is a high priority, and it's an intention for it to be successful. There was a time we used to have 100 kids, and I'm holding that by this summer we've got 75 of them back here on a regular basis. So, yeah, George, good to see you.
I I'm George Burmeister. Oh, thank you. Tammy mentioned the fact that we are short $60,000 in contributions. I know that the Board of Trustees and the Development Committee are working on this, but as I look around in this room, I see roughly maybe 10% or no more than 15% of the people who attend church regularly. And I ask all of you to talk to your friends and others that you know in the church about this shortage. We need to broadcast this, and we can broadcast this to this group who always show up, but the majority don't, and they're the ones who need to do that support. So we need your help in finding that extra 60,000.
That's great. Let's find that extra 60 grand. Let's tell people about it, but let us know that part of our responsibility and consciousness is to paint the picture that the overall picture for Seaside is a good year, and the line item that had its problem this year is the financial contribution. So paint the word, but not that we're in dire straits, because we went through a few years of, we're going to lose everything, and we're not there. We are in a good place, and we are building in the new budget this year. It has that money earmarked, how it's to be paid back, and it's figured out. So what I put out there is make sure, yes, the fact is this. And as I was talking about today, how's the story that's coming with it? Are you coming from this is horrible, or hey, this is what we need to do? And you know what? Seaside is about to step into a spot that the outside worlds, and I assure you they have audited us, they have looked at us, they know exactly what is spent, where is spent, what hasn't. The outside world is looking favorably upon our finances. So let us not turn it into a spin of it's bad. Yes, this is an important top priority, and we're not in a bad place. So let's not run out there with fear, because it took us a couple years to get out of that one, and that's what I'm talking about. The outside world says we're in good shape, and what we know is we need to put our attention. And what I believe is that 600,000, we will blow past that this year if everybody not only tells somebody what's going on, but brings someone. If everybody brought someone, all of a sudden we would jump to 700 to 800 people a week at Seaside, which then the ministries, relationships, all sorts of things. So thank you, George. I support that. Then I now turn it over to your prez.
Reverend Christian?
Yes, our volunteer of the year. Congratulations. I think he's got a bed here. He's here in the morning and night, working outside.
Well, that's where Tammy is.
I know. I think I see you more than her.
just don't go back in the hall during certain hours.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say is after reading through these notes and going through the last couple of years with Tammy and in talking about things and working through things and praying, and I recalled in my ministerial studies a story out of the Bible that you may remember of a very wealthy man. He called in 3 craftsmen and said, "Build me a house. Here's your money, just build a house." And he gave all 3 of them the money. And the first one came back, and he was a little over budget, but that's okay. It's no problem. Here's your house. The second one came in right on budget. The third one decided, he already gave me the money, so if I maybe use cheaper stuff here and not enough there. Long story short, the rich man handed all 3 of these men the keys and said, "They're your homes." And what the moral of that story that I'm getting in my heart is that every single ministry, every single volunteer group, every single group of people that come together in service for your church has made this their own home, and that's why it's successful.
Absolutely, yeah. That's good. That's good.
We're moving into new business, and one of the comments that Reverend Christian made, and I want to reiterate, was there were 3 initiatives that have been initiated by our Board of Trustees, one of which was implemented, and that was the Development Committee. And it's absolutely sterling, stunning, and it's doing a great job, and we're going to see magnificent financial gains because of the strategy and the wherewithal that this ministry is taking on. And there's a very extensive report in your reports about that and the projections of what's going to happen in the future. The new business is that there are two other initiatives that were taken, and that is the membership initiative. And Bill has teamed up to bring people together, and Reverend Laurie, to learn ways of bringing more members to us, but bringing them and loving them and making them realize how wonderful this home is that we call our spiritual community. So that's in the process, and he's working on it, and we're conjuring it up. So that's new business this year, guys, and it's going to be stunning, the results. The other part of new business here is our marketing committee. Reverend Christian has created a space in his home that we had lots of exciting, interesting comments and people stepping up to making a difference in marketing. People should know about us. I mean, this is a wonderful place to be all the time. Rick agrees to that. And so here we are. We have now a new committee that's starting. And so if anyone is interested in joining forces, we need people. Helen needs people for her development committee too. We're going to be in the weeks to come. What date is that? We're going to do the 10th of February, after services on Sunday. We're going to be having a visioning for a very exciting signature event. It will put us on the map, and it'll also financially give Tammy any kind of money she needs. So we're very excited about that. Is there any other new business that anyone would like to discuss? Well, it's been fun, and we have to thank Sharon DeLeon for feeding us well so that we could enjoy our meeting until 2:10. And so I'm going to ask Reverend Christina to give us the benediction.
So let's just close our eyes. In deep, deep, deep gratitude for this sacred time together, for what has been decided, for this amazing Board of Trustees that has been elected, for this amazing, amazing community of Seaside. I'm just so, so grateful. And I am so grateful for the potential, for the expansion of Seaside out of this meeting together today, out of this sacred time together today. And I'm just knowing that we go out into our lives just feeling that potential, feeling that blessing, feeling that love that is the truth of Seaside, and truly spreading the word. And so it is. Amen.
As we adjourn, I thank you all for attending. I ask the Board of Trustees to please go to the green room after we close this meeting. And I ask you all, as you go back out into your ministries, to keep in consciousness our themes for this last year and for the year to come. And it's a Seaside is thriving, Seaside is listening, Seaside is serving, and Seaside is family. Yes. We are adjourned.